I want to welcome you to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Thursday, November the 7th, 2013. This is a special segment today because I want to talk about this whole hazing slash bullying incident that took place down in Miami with Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin as the two participants. Now, in the NFL, there has always been a culture of hazing, having the rookies buy the team donuts and things like that, carry the guys pads and things of that nature. And I'm certain every sport has its own form of traditions, as they say, or hazing, whatever term you prefer to use. However, there is what we call a fine line between hazing, doing the traditional things, and bullying. And it looks that what took place down there in Miami was a form of bullying. Now, be not deceived. Everybody's mentioning about Richie Incognito bullying Jonathan Martin. And he is the principal suspect in this case. However, it appears to be, was a locker room issue, which means that multiple teammates was part of this wolf pack slash bullying effort that took place on Jonathan Martin. Now, the question that has arisen lately was, what did the coach know? When did he know it? If he knew anything? And should he have known? Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. A coach is supposed to know what goes on in his locker room. I don't care what sport it is. You're supposed to have a pulse of what goes on in your locker room if you're doing your job as a head coach. Now, you might not know every detail, every nook and cranny, but you have to have a general idea of what's going on in your locker room. Okay? And if you don't, that's a fireable offense. What that tells me is that you're not equipped to run a team. If you can't keep control of your locker room, that is your job as a head coach. So we can discuss whether Joe Philbin, who's the coach of the Miami Dolphins, if he should have known if this was going on. Yes, he should have known. But the bigger question was, assuming he knew, did he allow this, or did he encourage this type of barbaric behavior? Now, though it is not proven as of yet that he directly encouraged it, I believe that he played a hand in this. Because you see, Martin is different. Martin comes from Stanford University, okay? Smart. He was a guy who went to class, okay? This wasn't some dumb jock. He's very educated. His parents are both Harvard lawyers, or lawyers from Harvard. Okay? Very wealthy family he came from. So he's not going to fit in with the culture that a lot of these other athletes, schools that a lot of these other athletes come from. So when he comes in, guys, they size you up real quick. And if you show forms of weakness, they're going to bully you. They're going to attack you. They're going to make you their target. And unfortunately for Martin, he was the target. Now, the question is, how should Martin have handled this? Now, there was three ways that I see right now, ways that Martin could have handled this without going to jail. One, he could have fought Incognito or anyone else on that team, and that might have stopped the bullying. Two, he could have went to his head coach or GM and reported the incident. Or three, he could have did what he did, was just walk away from the team. Now, he chose door number three. Now, we could debate whether that was the right thing to do. I'm going to say this. Originally, I didn't think that was the right thing to do. I would have, me personally, said, bust Cognito in the mouth. Okay? But I learned something this week. You can do more damage by doing it the way Martin did it, which was just walk away from the game and let the media and the lawyers handle this, you can do more damage to tear down this hazing/bullying phenomenon that's going on than you can by raising your fist. Because raising your fist, let's say he would have fought incognito, okay? Let's say he would have fought incognito. He could have won or lost. He probably would have got his butt kicked. And though that might have stopped the bullying, and then again, it might not have. There's no guarantee that the bullying would have stopped just because he would have fought incognito. And let's say he gets his butt kicked on top of it. Well, the problem is this. Even if they left incognito alone, it doesn't stop them from bullying the next guy. They would just look for somebody else to bully. That's the problem with raising your fist to fight. There's no guarantee that it stops the bullying, and even if it does, they'll just move on to the next person. The second route is if he goes to his coach and GM, they were the ones who probably put incognito up to bullying him in the first place. So can you really trust your coach and GM? Not only that, now you come off as a snitch, which is what you don't want to be in any locker room, because then guys really won't trust you. So that was not really a good option either. So the third option, which wasn't really a good option either, but it's the best of the three, and that was to just walk off the team. Just say, hey, I'm done. I don't need this. And he really don't need this because he's very smart. He can make money outside of football. He doesn't need football to make it in life. So he just walked away. And that's what caused the whole controversy. Now the players in his locker room is very upset, and a lot of players around the league is very upset because what he did is he's tearing down the whole system of the way they do things. Because now the NFL is going to be forced to stop the hazing, making rookies pay for dinners, for the team dinners and stuff like that. They're going to force them to put a stop to that. Because you cannot have this anymore if you're in the NFL. And this bothers a lot of guys because he's upsetting the apple cart. Okay? To me, Martin handled this the correct way. This was his own way of fighting, and he's going to do it through the courts. That's the best way to have handled this situation. And really, any future bullying incidents, whether it's in football or not football, or even in school or whatever it is, just simply hire an attorney. They will make the bullies pay. You make enough bullies pay, people will stop bullying. Because the one thing people fear in this country more than anything else is a lawsuit. Why do you think a lot of people don't like lawyers? Lawsuit is the greatest fear of any corporation in this country. So you can best believe the most effective method is the lawsuit route. He got the attention of the NFL. Now, what's going to happen down here in Miami? First of all, I don't think it would be wise for Martin to go back and play for Miami again. Personally speaking. I think he would be best to be released by Miami and go play somewhere else if he wants to continue his NFL career. With that being said, that entire locker room needs to be cleansed. And this is on the owner of at the feet of Stephen Ross. He cannot ignore this any longer. He's going to have to make some drastic changes there. And it's going to cost him some money, but he's going to have to do it. Because you cannot have what went on in this locker room happen again. It just cannot. There was a total breakdown in leadership or lack of leadership that caused this to happen because you put the wrong people in leadership. Incognito is not a leader, folks. A bully is not a leader. That's not a guy who's got an anger problem or a history of violence, that's not a guy you want to put in charge to run things. Okay? You put the wrong person or the wrong people in charge, this is what you have. This barbaric behavior is what you have when you put the wrong people in charge. So, to me, the GM has to go, the head coach has to go, the assistants have to go, whether they, regardless of what side the ball is, your house has to be cleaned here. A lot of these players have to go. And if you're the Dolphins in the NFL, you want to make certain to your players that you tell them when the media is around, shut up about this issue. Do not talk about Martin or Incognito. You're not helping Incognito by singing his praises. You're not helping his case. If anything, you're further damaging his case by singing his praises. Because, see, what you're going to do is you're going to have the media upset with you, and you can't fight the media and win. You just cannot. Right now, the media is the most powerful entity going, because when they latch onto something, they don't let go. Remember something, and these players, they gotta be educated. They gotta understand the media is not your friend. So just because they ask you a question doesn't mean you have to answer it. Or you have to know how to answer it. All you have to say is, look, I'm not commenting on that. It's in the hands of the NFL and the investigators, and I'm leaving it at that. That's all you have to say. And don't say any more. Because if you say any more, you can end up getting yourself or someone else in trouble, in further trouble. This is a very serious matter, and whether you like the way Martin handled it or not is irrelevant. It is what it is, and now you have to deal with the repercussions of the matter. And yes, things are going to change. Whether you like it or not, things are going to change. From here on out, it has to. You cannot continue doing business as you've been doing this entire time. You're going to have to now change. Just like how they changed the rules for the concussions. They did this to make certain no more lawsuits come down the road. Well, guess what? You're going to have to change the way you have your interactions between the rookies and the veterans. That has to change. And don't worry, the NFL will make the changes. Because, see, this, unfortunately, falls in their laps. It falls in the laps of the organization, which means it's going to fall in the lap of Stephen Ross. He's going to pay for this because he's going to be sued. He's going to pay for this. And even though Stephen Ross may have had nothing to do with it, it was because you hired the people who did have something to do with it. And because you hired them, that makes you responsible. And so this is why if you're Stephen Ross, the GM and the head coach must be fired. Now, I'm not going to do that in season as of right now, but more and more stuff is coming out. We got to wait to see everything. What does the NFL investigators have to say about this? So, just be patient, okay? But I would wait. But at the end of the season, both the GM and the head coach will be getting their pink slips. Because this should have never went on to the level that it did. And the fact that they didn't have the requisite people in place to say, put a stop to this, before it got to this point, I'm holding everybody accountable. There has to be major changes done in Miami. Changes not only with the coaching staff, but also with the players. You need to have real veteran leadership. Real veteran leadership. Just because you appoint somebody a leader doesn't make them a leader. Real veteran leadership. You need guys who's going to go in there and police that locker room and say, look, none of this is happening under our watch. None of this bullying tactics will happen underneath our watch. Okay? None of this is going to happen on our watch. That's the type of veteran leadership you need. People who care more about winning rings than they do about trying to dominate somebody. Because you look at Miami on the field, they haven't exactly been trailblazers here. They haven't exactly torn the league apart here. They were 4-4 when they started 3-0. They're now 4-4, and they're sliding. Bad teams just finds a way, it just permeates because there's a lack of accountability, which goes to a lack of leadership. There must be leaders. And as far as Martin is concerned, son, you have to take this all the way. You have to bring the lawsuit unless the league is willing to settle. And don't settle, in my opinion, don't settle for anything less than 20 mil. Now my dad says 25 mil minimum. Okay, 20, 25 mil. Don't settle, but don't cheapen yourself. You're a smart individual. Make certain that and especially now that it's being reported that physical abuse has now come into play, well, now that changes things even more. Because, see, to me, because he's different and these guys just mentally and physically abused him, this here now really opens this up that I don't even think 20 or 25 million is now good enough. Now that I think about this, I mean, this here, these boys are going to have to pay. And trust me, the NFL do not want to go to court. Trust me when I say this. Because they don't want what is could be potentially a class action lawsuit. Because all it takes is for one person to file. And then what's going to happen? Other guys who've been bullied is going to come forth and say, well, I also was bullied. This could be the NFL's worst nightmare. That's why if you're the NFL, you have to get it. You got to get this off the tongues of the people as quick as possible. You have to get rid of this story as quick as possible. And the only way I can see you doing that is you got to pay Martin handsomely to go away, to make this issue go away. Because if he brings the attorneys, if he brings the lawsuit, because the attorney's already involved, if he brings the lawsuit, the NFL could have a serious problem on their hand. Because Martin is going to win. This is an airtight case in his favor. This is an airtight case in his favor. He's going to win. So the question is not, will he win? The question is, how much will he win? And if you're the NFL, you can't take that chance. So you're going to have to settle this. That's the way it's got to be done. As far as Incognito is concerned, his NFL career is over. Because I cannot see a team, I want to be the fly on the wall for a GM who tries to explain to his owner why Incognito is on his team. I want to see the GM who's going to try to explain that. His career is over. But you know what? If Incognito is smart, he also would sue the NFL. Now, what do you mean him sue the NFL? He's the bully. Well, yes, but here's the thing. Because his superiors put him up to it, they led the marching orders. So he could legitimately sue the NFL because his earning potential is now over. Now, he's not going to get as much sympathy from the media or from the people because he was the bully. But if you're Incognito, why not take the chance? But do not think if you're Incognito for 1 second, you're out of the woods on this just because your superiors gave the order. Watch A Few Good Men. You need to watch that movie. Because the whole crux of the movie, even though that was a criminal matter, and this is more going to be a civil matter, but the theory is still the same. You're still responsible for your own actions, even if your superiors gave you the order. You're still responsible for your own actions at the end of the day. So you're not absolved from that. So you may or may not win, but if you're incognito, why not give it a try? Why not sue the Miami Dolphins? Because you really got nothing to lose now, because your career really is over. Because like I said, if it isn't, I want to see the owner, the GM who tries to explain to their owner why this man is on their team. Because what owner's going to take that chance knowing what they now know? What owner's going to take that chance? I want to see the owner that's going to take that chance. Because the one thing owners care most about is their money, and they're not interested in giving it away. And right now, Stephen Ross is going to be paying out some big-time money here. He's going to pay. The NFL is going to pay for this. They have to. And the media is going to see to it that the NFL pays for this. So I want to thank you for watching another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Please subscribe to my channel, and so you can see the other shows that I've already posted. And I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.